sensation of color rises up around us to excite, unite, and inspire. It's a powerful language that can challenge and confront, but one we don't always understand. Its origins are ancient, expressing something primal and universal. It defines who we are and our place in the world. Color affects us physically, emotionally, and spiritually. But what is really known about this mysterious power? Myths abound. Red excites, while blue calms. White is pure, and black is evil. In this episode, we will look at the power of color and explore what is myth and what is truth. The modern quest to define and understand color unites many fields of study: science, the arts, history, psychology, anthropology. Each discipline offers a piece of the puzzle, a chance to crack the color code. Here in the city's business district, people dress to belong. Their clothes announce their status and their willingness to conform. It's extraordinary what a splash of color can do. It can amuse, or it can confound. By breaking our color codes, we step outside the group. Could it really be possible for a man dressed like this to rise to the top of the corporate ladder? The odds are against it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk this afternoon about color. When you think about color, you have to realize that it's affecting us at three different levels. We're affected sociologically, what the society tells us color should be and do to us. We're affected physiologically, what is actually going on in our bodies, and we're also affected psychologically. So I want to show you some colors first and ask for your response to those colors. Just one word response. Blue.
Sky.
Sky. Blue.
The ocean.
Ocean.
A baby boy.
How about violet? Jason?
Religious garb.
Religious.
Royalty.
Royalty.
Mardi Gras.
I like that. How about yellow? You had one for yellow, huh?
Happy.
Happy, okay.
Sun.
Energy.
Energy, okay.
Color has a tremendous effect on people that they often don't realize. For example, in advertising, they will use often blue and white and a rust to stimulate thirst. So you'll find that often on bottles of water. The rust color stimulates thirst, and then the blue and white are supposed to quench it. So it all sets up this image of, I'm thirsty now, I'm going to buy this water.
Another good example would be orange, because orange physically makes you salivate, and then you're hungry. You may not be hungry when you walk into the restaurant, but because it's painted that color, it can really set all those things into motion.
The color language advertisers and manufacturers use is based more on their own market-driven conventions than on scientific fact. But it must work, because they spend billions creating it. It's a powerful code, but where does it come from? The most fundamental use of color language may be found in the animal kingdom.
Birds and fish and other colourful animals are relying on a language of colour to convey information. This is very often to do with whether or not you want to mate with someone. They don't sit down and have a conversation find out whether or not you have similar interests. Their decisions are much more immediate, and they have to make those decisions not on the spur of the moment, but at least probably over a shorter time span, and they are using this language of colour in order to do that. Very often in nature, males are more colourful than females. The basic reason for this is that the female has a much larger investment. For the female to invest her egg in a male is much more of a big decision than for a male to invest his sperm in females. Therefore, the male has to appear as the right choice. As a result, sexual evolution has driven many males to ridiculous extremes of display. They're saying, I'm a very fit individual, look at my colours, I'm brilliantly coloured, I can look after myself well, therefore I'm an animal worth mating with. Fitness, vitality, strength is very much part of what colour's all about.
The power of colour in early human societies is still evident in the customs and rituals of many of today's indigenous communities.
Indigenous peoples of Europe, of Africa, of Australia, Asia, around the world have been using colour to decorate their bodies, to decorate objects, to produce rock paintings, to convey meaning and identity, both individual identity and group identity. So colour, for hundreds of thousands of years, has been integral to who we are and what we mean to each other.
Communities like the Huli of Papua New Guinea still depend on colour for their survival.
We know that we evolved color vision to improve our ability to perform certain behavioral tasks, such as food finding or finding mates. We know that the red-green axis of color vision seems specifically to have evolved in order to enable us to better find edible leaves or edible fruit. So it might be that because we use color in certain behavioral tasks, we then learn to appreciate certain colors more than others. We want to find fruits that are good to eat, so we learn to like the colors of those fruits that are good to eat, and therefore we come to like those colors.
Our preference for certain colors has become deeply rooted in our cultural traditions. After the full moon that announces spring, Indians celebrate the festival of Holi. Long ago, an ancient fertility cult started the revelry, and over time, it was taken up by Hindus.
Or, la fête du Holi, il y est vraiment question de désir. Pour les restimuler au moment de l'arrivée du printemps, il y avait cette fête donc, du Holi qui commémore soi-disant donc, la résurrection de ce dieu de l'amour.
The predominant color in Holi is red, a color rich in symbolic meaning. It's the color of blood, the color of fire. Its power is fundamental, a status it shares with black and with white. These three colors have a power so ancient and universal, they are almost part of our DNA. Black from charcoal, white from clay or chalk, red from earth. This was the first palette. Its cultural use by earliest man imbues these colors with everlasting power. These young Maasai are preparing for an important ceremony, Unoto, a time of transition.
La couleur rouge occupe vraiment une place à part dans l'histoire des couleurs, dans la mesure où on va la retrouver au premier balbutiement de l'humanité. Et c'est comme si le rouge faisait appel à quelque chose de profondément archaïque chez l'humain. C'est probablement le lien qui se fait via la couleur du sang. Le sang qui est un fluide de vie, mais lorsqu'il s'échappe du corps, qui est aussi le symptôme de la mort qui va venir. Et on va le retrouver donc dans le sang de la naissance, dans le sang qui marque la nubilité des jeunes filles, dans le sang aussi que versent parfois les initiés lors de la circoncision, au moment de la mort, au moment de la chasse, au moment des combats. Donc c'est un fluide qui suit l'histoire de la vie humaine et qui suit aussi l'histoire de l'humanité.
While red is about our basic humanity, our bodies, our blood, white is about our spirit. Central to Australian Aboriginal spirituality is the legend of the rainbow serpent, depicted in artworks and ceremonies.
A long time ago, my mother and my father and my family, they taught me when I was a little girl. My father, went to hunting, look for kangaroo. He was paint himself. He put white ochre and he went there. Just because, kangaroo, see people put paint everywhere. I must say kangaroo, maybe no men here.
There are a number of different stories about white ochre, and many of these involve ancestral beings who created these colors and left them in the landscape. For instance, for many groups of people, it was Nalyod, a rainbow serpent, that left the deposits of white pipe clay in the land.
For the Gonwingu people, white is the most significant of colors. They use it to mark the passing from one state to another, for funeral rites and circumcisions. For many cultures, white symbolizes spiritual purity. Around the world, many religions use white ritualistically.
Les prêtresses et les prêtres liés au culte de telle ou telle divinité portaient fréquemment des vêtements blancs parce qu'ils devaient être purs, sans souillure, pour entrer dans les temples et faire le service divin qui était concerné. Et ces pratiques religieuses se sont étendues à la société civile.
White, as a symbol of purity, came to signify virginity. The wedding dress is a modern extension of this ancient custom. But it wasn't always that way. For centuries, brides in Europe wore red, the most precious of colors.
Et puis, dans le courant du XVIIIe siècle, le blanc s'impose, probablement parce que désormais, la jeune femme doit montrer qu'elle arrive vierge au mariage. Et le blanc est le symbole de cette virginité. Dans l'Europe moderne, ça ne va plus tout à fait de soi. Et il y a un moment où il faut le marquer par un signe vestimentaire, d'où ces mariées blanches.
Today, white is associated less with virginity and purity, and more with cleanliness.
Est-ce qu'il existe des baignoires, des douches, des lavabos, des cuvettes de toilettes qui ne soient pas blancs et qui lavent quand même néanmoins efficacement? On peut même dire que nous avons l'impression que si nous nous lavons dans une baignoire qui ne soit pas blanche, nous sommes moins lavés, moins bien lavés. Cela remonte à des époques très très anciennes où le blanc et l'hygiène entretenaient des rapports extrêmement étroits. Et toute la symbolique de la couleur blanche, dans beaucoup de cultures, s'est construite d'abord autour de ces idées de propreté, de virginité, d'innocence.
These ancient roots have almost evolved into a neurosis, a modern obsession with hygiene.
Ce qui était blanc était non souillé, ce qui était noir était pensé comme abîmé, pollué, crasseux.
Black, the antithesis of white, synonymous with death, an evocation of evil.
Spontanément, la première idée que l'on associe à la couleur noire, c'est celle de la nuit, des ténèbres, du monde souterrain. Dans de nombreuses sociétés, depuis des temps très anciens, les rituels funéraires et les pratiques du deuil mettent en scène largement la couleur noire, et ce sont des usages qui sont encore très largement répandus. Pour le noir, associé à la mort, j'ai l'impression que c'est une symbolique très largement partagée.
While black's dark side can be found throughout the world as an expression of evil, sin, and death, the color is not all bad. Black can be dignified, elegant, and luxurious, an expression of moderation, modesty, and humility.
À la fin du Moyen-Âge, tous les princes s'habillent en noir, c'est la plus prestigieuse des couleurs, et au fond, nos smokings, nos petites robes noires, nos emballages prestigieux pour les parfums de grand luxe sont les héritiers de ce noir princier de la fin du Moyen-Âge et de la Renaissance.
Like black, white and red have opposing meanings, meanings linked to particular states of mind. While colors have been used to denote status or authority, vocation or membership of a team, the meaning of color depends on context.
Ce contexte peut être historique, peut-être géographique, peut-être circonstanciel, mais dans l'absolu, on pourrait dire, comme disent les linguistes à propos du vocabulaire, que les couleurs n'ont pas de sens, elles n'ont que des emplois, et c'est tel ou tel emploi qui leur donne leur sens.
The colors a country most treasures are traditionally expressed in its national flag.
もちろんその赤い丸は太陽のそのものを表して、そしてその白っていうものは太陽が昇ってくるサンライズのその空が白くなってくるものを表している。
Along with white and red, the opposing forces of black and blue make up the four original colors of ancient Japan.
黒っていうのは太陽がこう沈んでいくその闇夜の世界を表している。 そして青っていうのは太陽がこう沈んでいった時の草の色なんですね。夕方の草の色を表している。いずれもその日本の4つのメインカラーっていうのは太陽に関係しているということが言えると思いますね。
In the West, the word for color is derived from Latin and means material on a surface. In traditional Japan, the word for color, iro, conveys both elaborate sensuality and a gateway to a spiritual world.
日本語の色っていうのはある意味では男女がセックスをしている性交をしているっていうそういう姿から来て非常にセクシャルな意味を持っているということで西洋の非常に物質的な色っていう単に上側に塗ったものっていうこととは違って東洋の色っていうのは非常に一つ一つが精神的な意味を持っていると思いますね。
Japan's formidable neighbor, China, had a powerful impact on the country's color language. Red, black, white and blue were joined by yellow.
中国では黄色が一番大事な色だし、皇帝の衣服の色で非常に尊ばれています。
Cultural influences have always had a bearing on people's attitude to color, but they're far from consistent. For centuries in Europe, blue was the most hated of colors.
De nos jours, c'est la couleur préférée, loin devant les autres couleurs. Mais dans la Grèce et dans la Rome antique, c'était une couleur mal aimée, délaissée, méprisée parfois. À Rome, par exemple, non seulement personne ne s'habille de bleu, mais avoir les yeux bleus, c'est signe de ridicule pour les hommes, de mauvaise vie pour les femmes.
Perhaps the color was feared because it conjured up thoughts of barbarian tribes daubed in blue woad, living out beyond the veil of civilization. But in the Middle Ages, Europeans discovered the fabulous blue that came to epitomize the Virgin Mary. Ultramarine brought blue in from the shadows. During the Reformation, blue joined a range of colors depicting virtue and honesty, a color for good citizens and good Christians. The mid-19th century Romantic period made blue the color of poets, the color of dreams. Gradually, the color people once feared became their favorite.
What's really striking is that all people, whatever the culture, seem to have a preference for blue. And I say that not based on our own results only, but also on historical studies. There seems to be quite a strong preference for blue. Okay, that looks pretty good. I guess the aim is to sample the hue space as much as possible, even though it's a shorter version. Yeah.
Anya Hulbert from the University of Newcastle in England is conducting a study to determine the nature of color preferences.
We analyzed color preference in terms of two basic biological mechanisms, the blue-yellow dimension of color vision and the red-green dimension of color vision. We found that On the blue-yellow dimension, everyone has a slight preference for blue. And in females, this is a very strong preference. Also in females, there's a stronger preference for the red end of the red-green dimension. So the females have a sort of reddish-bluish preference. That's the region of the hue spectrum where their preference is strongest. Pinks and lilacs tend to be both quite strong in the reddish dimension and in the bluish dimension. These colors tend to be the favorite colors for females. So although we didn't specifically ask girls or women if pink was their favorite color, we found that they consistently chose the redder of the two colors or consistently chose the bluer of the two colors. And if the color happened to be both bluer and redder than the other color, they would tend to pick that all the time. And that tended to be a sort of pinkish or lilac-ish color. So therefore, females look as if they have a strong preference for pink. Now, clearly that's something that every toy manufacturer and clothing designer for little girls has picked up on and reinforced.
I've always said that if your mother likes pink, then probably if she had a daughter, she'd dress that daughter in pink. And that daughter seems to grow up liking that color. So there's been a long tradition of, particularly in Western culture, of tying blue with the male and pink with the female.
Okay, we're going to do a little experiment here, and it's a blue and pink experiment, and it is to show in a very low-tech way how color affects you physiologically. Push up when I push down, okay? So push up now.
As I push down on their hands, they push up, and then I have someone stand behind them and cover their field of vision with the blue, and they maintain their strength. And then I give them a shot of pink, as I always put it.
So Brian's just going to put this around. We're going to put saturation on it. Look at it. Push up, Eddie. Push up. Eddie, push up.
And they lose all their strength. And they get very angry. Especially the males.
Now give her a shot of pink. Higher. Push up.
Come on, push up. Push up.
Too bad. Come on, muscles. Push up.
Come on, push up.
Didn't work, huh? Oh. Should have warmed up. Push them up. Put them up high.
Push up.
Okay, we gave him his strength back. Whoa, do we feel manly again?
In 1978, after watching a demonstration similar to the Furman's color strength test, Dr. Alexander Schaus from the American Institute of Biosocial Research in Washington State began exploring the effects of pink. He theorized that the color may affect hormone production by impacting on the endocrine system. The results of experiments at a US military prison led Schaus to conclude that pink reduced violent or aggressive behavior among the inmates. He stated,
"Even if a person tries to be angry or aggressive in the presence of pink, he can't. The heart muscles can't race fast enough. It's a tranquilizing color that saps your energy. Even the colorblind are tranquilized by pink rooms."
Schaus acknowledged that more work needed to be done to explore the effect further. All the same, the color he called Baker-Miller pink came to be known as drunk tank pink. The idea caught on around the world.
Now, I don't know if all the prisoners in the world, or at least in this country, use the right shade of pink, because there's not been that much care taken in documenting color. But evidently they did find out what the close shade would be. And in the state of Texas, it seemed like Houston really jumped on the bandwagon when it came to painting their prisons pink.
I looked at on the internet some different literature, and they keep coming back to this color that they actually call tiger pink, and that's one that they say is soothing, and ended up going in and painting the interior of the jail, and that was done in 2005, and since it's been done, we've had 0 inmate-on-inmate assaults, and we've had 0 inmate-on detention officer assaults.
Stand on pink footprints.
Most of the prisoners that pass through this small jail in Mason, Texas, are in for short stretches, for burglaries, car theft, drug charges.
Shoes. Obviously you're in jail, so you're already, you're stressed out, your emotions are running high. We felt like if we were able to go ahead and paint this color, put it in there, maybe it would calm them down a little bit and be a little more soothing to them, and it's proven to be so.
Inmates, attitude or something, some calms them down. Why pink calms people down, I don't know, but and then there's others that, might get real mad or, just got a big problem with it.
Pink is, I guess, kind of a quarry color. It makes you feel sometimes welcome, and sometimes it makes you feel mad or you don't like the color. And me personally, I do like the color. So the original idea is to make you embarrassed and make you not want to come back. And that was the purpose of the pink, in pink uniforms, the pink walls, as you've seen outside. And it's just, I guess, kind of a mental deal. Like I said, they don't want you here to want to come back here.
The thought process behind it was definitely not to humiliate them. A lot of people think, well, that's what you want to do, is you want to bring them in and degrade them and humiliate them. And that's not the case. I guess that might be kind of a byproduct of the whole thing, but it was basically to calm them down and to be some more of a deterrent that, hey, we don't want to come back to this jail.
Before the new paint job, 1/3 of prisoners reoffended and wound up back inside. Now, the reoffender rate is down by 68%. But was it really painting the cell's drug tank pink that did the trick?
A researcher from York University decided to replicate the study. And when he replicated the study, he used white. And when he tested the subjects, he felt he got the same results, less agitation, much calmer. His conclusion was it was not the color pink. It had all to do with a freshly painted space. Cleanliness being next to godliness, maybe, with no grime on the walls and the environment being clean and not what you expect walking into a prison.
It would seem no pigment, red, blue, or pink, has any clearly defined impact on the way we think and feel. While a coat of new paint may brighten up a room, research into the psychological effects of color is inconclusive. However, we all intuitively sense the effect. Color can change our mood and our state of mind. It can alter our perception of the world around us. To more clearly define the hidden power of color, science is looking deep inside the chemistry of our brains and bodies. In Olympic contests, boxers are given either red or blue gloves, helmets, and trunks.
Within the Olympic Games, colour is randomly assigned to the individuals in, say, boxing, taekwondo, and the wrestling competitions. And if colour's having no influence at all on the outcome of these sports, we should expect to see an equal number of red and blue winners across the course of the competition.
In his work as an anthropologist, Russell Hill has observed that in some animals, red is a signal of dominance.
In mandrill monkeys, for example, the dominant males have this very red, intensely red facial coloration, and it's only the dominant males that are able to carry this colour. The subordinate males, the red coloration is completely washed out.
The red coloration is an evolutionary effect related to breeding. Females see the colour and recognise prospects are good.
This intense red coloration is associated with testosterone levels. So the red coloration is effectively a badge of status that's indicating that these individuals have very high testosterone levels. High levels of the hormone in the bloodstream lead to increased mental and physical energies.
So would red impact on a sporting contest? Russell Hill has crunched the numbers to assess outcomes in Olympic conflict sports.
What we actually saw were significantly more red winners at the end of the Olympic Games than blue winners, suggesting that these innate associations between reds and dominance are actually having an influence on the outcome of these sporting contests. So what we suspect is happening in the sports is that the individuals wearing red may be receiving a sort of a testosterone boost before they go out to compete. Or alternatively, their opponents may be seeing an individual completely decked out in red and effectively interpreting that individual as super dominant to themselves and maybe causing a suppression in the testosterone levels within the blue competitor.
The ability of certain colors to influence our hormonal system is still not fully understood. But a recent medical breakthrough has revealed a significant link between the color of light and the rhythm of our lives. From the dawn of our evolution, the cycle of the day, sunrise and sunset, has influenced the complex physiology of our bodies. The importance of this ancient relationship with the color of sunlight is the subject of current research.
Please indicate your sleepiness during the 5 minutes before this rating. 1, very alert.
At Harvard Medical School, scientists are studying the effect of colored light on the body and mind.
Now I'm very sleepy, great effort to keep awake, fighting sleep. There's been a lot of ideas put forth about colour therapy and a lot of claims made about how different colours of light affect human health. And some of these claims go back several thousand years to other cultures that were using light in this way. It's only really recent that we've started to look systematically at how light affects human health, using photobiological methods which really weren't done before.
In Harvard's Sleep Medicine Center, volunteers live for weeks at a time in very controlled conditions.
We look at how light affects hormone levels, we look at how light affects temperature, how it affects alertness and performance. And we do a range of studies where we keep people under different lighting conditions and then look at how different intensities of light or different colours of light affect human biology.
How's it going? It's time to get on to bed.
Each subject is thoroughly wired up. Sensors on the skull record brain activity. Changes in body temperature are recorded through a rectal thermometer. A catheter in the arm enables extraction of blood for hormone analysis every 30 minutes.
Lights out.
All right, lights out to be momentarily.
If you ask people about how they think colour affects their mood, they might say that red is excitatory because it's linked to fire, it's linked to blood, whereas blue might be considered to be calming because it's the colour of the sky and the colour of the sea. In fact, in our most recent studies, we're finding that the opposite is true, that blue is most able to excite the brain and makes us active, whereas other wavelengths of light, such as red light, is in fact able to calm the brain more and doesn't induce such an acute effect on alertness and performance. Okay, we're now going to do the performance test, so please pick up the box, hold it in both hands, and when you hear a noise, press the right button as quickly as possible. We also think blue light might be most effective at alerting the brain, directly improving alertness and improving performance in the brain. So these studies are continuing now where we're looking at other different colours, such as violet light, green light, red light, at all different intensities to try and work out exactly which wavelengths or colours are able to affect the brain in this way. So we can use it for clinical purposes, for example, to try and treat people with circadian rhythm sleep disorders or people who suffer from winter depression, which is a problem with getting the right day length information into the brain.
From ancient times, the good health of humans, animals and plants has been linked to our daily cycles, our circadian rhythms. For humans, a disturbance in these cycles can result in disrupted sleep, fatigue, emotional and physical stress, and even bipolar disorders. Colored light might offer a cure. Annalise Kelly is a senior in high school in New York State. Like many kids her age, she was stressed by her busy schedule. She'd go to bed at 11, but not get to sleep till 1 or 2.
When I wasn't sleeping, it became really difficult to handle everything. It just got to the point where I almost had a nervous breakdown. And so I went to my doctor, and he said maybe I should try, a sleeping pill. And so I tried it for a few months. Then I couldn't sleep without taking it, and I wouldn't sleep that great when I did take it. I really didn't like the thought of being on a pill. So I really wanted to get away from that. So I went down to the sleep doctor in Albany, and he recommended that I go outside in the morning at 6:30, right when I wake up. So I'd go out every morning 6:30 and sit in the sun.
What's been learnt recently is that in addition to the rods and cones in our eyes, the retina has separate but allied photoreceptors for absorbing light. These cells are called retinal ganglion cells.
The human eye does two things. It not only sees, so it allows us to see the visual world around us, but it also allows us to detect light separate and apart from vision. So we use this novel photoreception system to tell us what time of day it is, to tell us when it's dawn, to tell us when it's dusk, and to use this information to reset our body clock.
Blue light impacts on the hypothalamus, a gland in the brain which regulates the production of melatonin, the hormone that makes us drowsy.
It's sometimes called the hormone of darkness or the Dracula hormone because it is only produced at night, and it's the body clock's way of telling us when to go to sleep. Effectively, it's a signal of darkness.
Blue light, even from screens, inhibits the production of melatonin.
So at 6:30 at night, I would put on sunglasses to block out the blue light. There's sunglasses, but you have to get blue blockers. Like, they block the blue light because the blue light is what triggers your mind to think that it's daylight. Going out in the morning and stopping the blue light from coming in at night, I was able to get my clock back in sync.
Teenage girls with a stressful life are not the only ones who suffer from upset circadian rhythm. It affects night shift workers, international travelers, and anyone whose lifestyle separates them from regular daylight hours.
Many accidents are caused by this, by having shift workers who are awake at night when their body clocks tell them to go to sleep. There's a high rate of road traffic accidents at night because of this, high rate of industrial accidents at night, and more recently in our studies of medical residents we've shown that there are more medical errors at night committed because of this.
For those of us deprived of the time or opportunity to sit in the morning sun, glasses and eye patches are being developed that allow the timed release of blue light. In the 21st century, marketing is the dominant force in color. Color sells. The physical and psychological effects of color are trained upon us.
Bien sûr, la création des gammes de couleurs pour une voiture, elle vient d'un cahier des charges assez précis. Donc le marketing nous donne une idée précise de la cible clientèle visée.
Color has always been a code that speaks of sex and status. And this is especially true when it comes to bright red sports cars.
Le rouge, c'est une couleur assez excitante, c'est une couleur visible de très loin, c'est une couleur qu'on associe facilement à la vitesse. C'est presque une couleur qui bouge toute seule. Donc il suffit déjà de tourner autour de la voiture pour qu'elle bouge. C'est une couleur que j'appellerais cinétique, c'est une façon de multiplier presque la vitesse que peut prendre la voiture, ça lui donne de l'allure.
Quand moi j'étais adolescent, les possesseurs de voitures rouges payaient une prime d'assurance plus élevée que ceux qui avaient une voiture qui n'était pas rouge. C'était dû au fait que statistiquement, les conducteurs de voitures rouges avaient plus d'accidents que les autres. Non pas parce que ces voitures en elles-mêmes étaient dangereuses.
C'est une voiture qui peut quand même atteindre les 250 km/h. Un conducteur qui va choisir une voiture avec une couleur comme ça vive et excitante, ça relèvera sans doute, ça pourra nous révéler des choses sur son tempérament, sur son comportement.
Peut-être parce que, étant rouges, on les conduisait plus vite, et surtout parce que, étant rouges, elles étaient achetées ou conduites par des conducteurs plus jeunes qui, les statistiques le montrent, ont plus d'accidents que les conducteurs âgés.
Sporty and sexy, or classic and conservative, the automobile industry spends up big on research to get the right colors and styling. Color the world over is used to woo consumers. Manufacturers need their products to appear fresh and enticing. An international industry helps point them in the right direction.
With the past couple years, we have seen so many neutrals, and I really think that the public is going to tire of neutrals, and they're going to want to experience more color.
I've been seeing a lot of this blue again, which is somewhat environmentally inspired, but it's sort of transitioning its way onto the runway in this kind of way.
There's a lot of copper at all the shows now, so copper's very, very big.
I think that's where all those...
Color forecasters are an elite group with worldwide influence. Manufacturers will pay handsomely for the color predictions of these industry insiders as they nominate the palette that will emerge in the seasons ahead.
It's going to wind up in tables instead of the classic chrome-based table. We'll see this incredible metallic gold.
Okay. Obviously, in the manufacturing cycle, you know, it may take 6 months, it may take 2 years to bring a product to market, so you have to be able to project the colors that people are going to want in the future.
As far as what's driving the color and packaging, we see more and more a gray infusion of the palette because of the influx of post-consumer recycled material.
I think we've got Russia.
Color forecasters deliver advice for packaging, homeware, clothing, automobiles, sporting goods and toys. They draw ideas from travel, media, and by responding to world events and issues.
I'm calling it urban camouflage, and a very interesting book came out just recently called Camouflage. And it's really easy as a traveler right now to go through almost any airport in the United States and see certainly U.S. troops in their camouflage gear walking through. So you sort of have this little background thing in your head. All those colors.
People don't realize that large global issues probably are the ones that we're talking about. So the whole sustainability issue and environment issue, that's really the hot button right now. We've been talking about that for probably 5 or 6 years right now, and it's been an influence of our palette.
We have, as a culture, are grabbing to color and the feelings that we get from color and the psychophysiological reactions we get from color. And so I think that although there will always be neutrals in my industry, that there is this grab of color, and a lot of it is because we're getting rid of nature, and all the beautiful, most wonderful colors ever come from our environment.
There are 7 major color forecasting groups serving different markets around the globe, in the United States, Europe, and Asia. They debate their opinions, assemble a palette, then sell that palette to manufacturers.
Sometimes people don't realize, well, yeah, somebody did have to make the decision of my eyeglasses, of my nail polish, of the color of my shampoo, the color of the bottle of the shampoo, my shoes, my socks, my food, the plate that my food goes on. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on.
The color of our car, the brands we choose, and the colors they come in. Do these things really say anything meaningful about us?
Les couleurs que nous portons sur nous sont des codes, des identités, des étiquettes, des emblèmes. Nous disons qui nous sommes par la couleur. Refuser le regard des autres, ça n'est pas possible. Donc nous sommes jugés sur nos couleurs de vêtements, malgré nous, bien souvent, parce que la couleur, c'est d'abord une étiquette, c'est d'abord un système qui est codé dans telle ou telle société, voire dans tel ou tel milieu, avec des différences naturellement d'un milieu à l'autre et d'une société à l'autre.
The power of color is timeless. It's rooted deep in our evolutionary inheritance, linked to light and the cycle of the day. It arouses sensations deep within us, and from those sensations we derive meaning. We use color to define who we are and our place in the world. This unspoken mercurial language possesses a unique energy. It unites us, challenges us, and inspires us. Sensuous, spiritual, and emotional, color makes our world a place of beauty, and will continue to do so for as long as the planet plays host to the miraculous array of inquisitive, creative, and surprising individuals and creatures that call it home.